You know, the country's security is something to look into.
Yes.
And recently we saw the arrest of many individuals, especially in the immigration department, with regard to matters to do with IDs. And that has pointed a picture on where the country is with regard to those who have the documents that are recognized as Kenyans. It is a matter that we had a discussion with you back in the days. But as we also just talk about security, there is the question of extrajudicial killing by the police. Yeah. During the campaign period, you say police attacked you in charge, you know. And as we just have a discussion on that, where do you see the country's security is? You have yourself been in that space for a very long time.
Well,
and if we are to fix the security, do you also care to comment, if at all, this ID business is being used to influence elections in 2027?
To start with, as a young man, when I joined government at the age of 23, I joined in the security sector. I understand the security architecture of this country quite well. And I must say I'm very saddened that we have lost it as a country. We have a clueless CS for Interior who has no idea on how to manage a country's security architecture. We have a situation where the National Police Service is working with the goons. It's like they are a unit in the National Police Service. We have seen the President of the Republic of Kenya moving around in town in Nairobi in a company of goons. They are robbing people when they are in the presidential convoy. They are, touching women's breasts when they are with the presidential convoy. They are stealing people when police are there. And there's nothing the police can do because it is the president who has invited the goons to accompany him in Nairobi. We have seen where police are tear-gassing the clergy and they are tear-gassing Sunday school children in church and no action is taken. You have found where goons are being ferried in police vehicles with crude weapons, where goons have become part of our security architecture. That is how sad it is. It's unbelievable, And you have found where the country has sunk so low that the Inspector General of Police and the police commanders have surrendered the police command to politicians. It is politicians who are giving directions to police. Attack so-and-so, beat so-and-so, and there's nothing that can be done. And the commanders are helpless. We have found, I have myself been attacked in 12 incidents in the last 1 year. I've reported this to the IG, to the DCI. Nothing has been done because those gangs are under the command of politicians who are opposed to my politics. It's the National Police Service is no longer at the command of the Inspector General. It's no longer at the command of the county commanders. The National Police Service is at the command of politicians and criminal gangs. And sometimes we wonder, this Haiti mission, the police went to Haiti supposedly to help the people of Haiti deal with the criminal gangs. But it is looking that they went there actually for benchmarking on how to work with the goons. Because since these people went to Haiti, the relationship of the police and goons have actually become very close and very cordial, and they are actually working hard together. You saw during the Sabasaba riots, property was destroyed in the mountain region and in Nairobi by goons under police supervision. So what we are saying is this, you look at the situation in the border. The president made a decision that is ill-advised from a security perspective. Of course, he is doing it politically. He thinks he can get foreigners from Somalia to come and register as voters and vote for him. So foreigners are being issued IDs. The 5 chiefs who were supposedly abducted, it was not an abduction. It was stage managed by government.
Why would you say that,
yeah,
Mr.
because they were in Somalia registering Somalians as Kenyans.
What evidence do you have?
No, we have it.
Sure.
You saw the other day a racket here in Isili where foreigners are being registered as Kenyans, and in fact, I'm told the police who unearthed that racket are actually in trouble because they were not supposed to unearth it. It's embarrassing to the government because the government is part of that nonsense. And that thing that the president did is very bad for Kenyan Somalis, our Somalis from Kenya. As it is today, they are having challenges on visa application to go to various destinations in the world because the world is not sure, whether they are Kenyans or not. And it's very sad because the Kenyan Somalis are very hardworking people. They are very enterprising businessmen. These are people who should be able to travel all over the world, go to America, go to Britain, go to Canada, and do business. They are people who have contributed immensely to the growth of business in this country. It is very sad if they are profiled for extra surveillance and scrutiny arising from that decision by the president.
But it is the extra surveillance and scrutiny that was happening in the country, which is called vetting. And it is that process that many people from these border counties, I included, because I went through the vetting process.
That is why we want
for that.
We want the extra surveillance.
Many say that the vetting process is not fair to the people who are Kenyans and who need to go through a different exercise as any other Kenyan.
We would rather have extra surveillance at the border to make sure that only Kenyans are registered as Kenyans and foreigners are kept away, other than get our Kenyan Somalis profiled by the international community arising of a decision that cannot be properly justified. We must protect the Kenyan Somalis because they are Kenyans and they have every right to travel all over the world. And it is very sad, out of a decision that was made, that they are being viewed suspiciously. It is not right that our people are being profiled. But having said that, what I would want to do myself if elected president, the first thing I would do, day one, is recall our police officers from Haiti.
They're already home?
A few. Others are still there.
The process is ongoing.
Many have lost their lives. Many have come back with injuries. Even the one the president said he died, the body has never come home. You know, we must make sure these policemen come here and serve the people of Kenya. How is it that people are being terrorized by criminals and cattle rustlers when our policemen are in Haiti? Why can't they come and first guard the people of Kenya? Number two, we also want to equip our police officers and give them modern equipment to fight modern crime. Train them on cyber crime, make sure that they are properly trained to deal with the modern crime as it's happening in the country. Again, these policemen are suffering a lot. This SHA nonsense has really affected them. They used to have a very good insurance cover. And if you talk to the police officers, they are really crying because they are being forced to go to SHA that is not working. Same with our teachers. You know, we want our policemen to have a very good medical scheme. We want to have a risk allowance for them because most of them suffer in the line of duty. We also want to make sure they are properly remunerated. These men and women in uniform, you know, sacrifice a lot for this country and to make sure that we are all safe. Again, they have no vehicles, you know. You heard the other day Mukomen saying that people should give them fuel. That is corruption. Wananchi pay taxes. Why should Wananchi pay taxes that is being stolen by bribing teachers in states and chiefs, and then you ask them to go and buy fuel? All police stations in Kenya and police posts should have a well-serviced vehicle with enough fuel to enable them serve the people.
So still talk about matters to do with security. You mentioned that you have seen goons working together with politicians and police. Evidence on that, Mr. Gachagua, because at the end of the day, if it's just another statement, it remains being a hearsay without evidence. And even as we talk about our security, there is the fact that there are Kenyans who were abducted in Tanzania. That is a matter to do with foreign affairs and how that was handled. One would ask the question, where does our heart lie when it comes to protecting our own within and without the country, as well as other citizens of other countries? Talk about the Turkish citizens who were abducted in Nairobi and taken back to their country, who are seeking asylum in the country. Where are we in all these situations?
We are doing very badly in matters violation of human rights. You know, there are very many cases of forced abductions, forced disappearances, and extrajudicial killings. No action has been taken. I want to promise the people of Kenya on day one, there is a squad of 101 officers that has been in charge of those abductions. It will be disbanded, and all officers who abducted our children and killed them will be held to account.
That squad was put there during the time when you're deputy president?
Yeah, and I complained about it. I complained very bitterly.
Who did you raise the question to? Did you go to IPOA or to IAU?
No, I raised it publicly in Mombasa for the people of Kenya. I raised it with the president himself in a security meeting. I raised it with him one-to-one, and when he did not heed to what I was asking him to do, I held a press conference and condemned extrajudicial killings and abductions. I still hold that positions, that on forming government, abductions must come to an end, extrajudicial killings must come to an end, and all officers who have taken part in abductions and extrajudicial killings will be prosecuted.
Because you're part of the National Security Council, what was the reasoning behind the formation of that force?
Well, abductions and extrajudicial killings, and I opposed it myself. And when the president did not listen to me, I held a public press conference. It's on record on the 26th of June, 2024. It's on record.
But that, Mr. Gachagua, was way after you had served in government. Why didn't you speak on the very first day?
Those issues.
Because Mr. Gachagua, one would say, at the point when you were giving that statement, it's because you knew that impeachment was coming.
That was in June. Impeachment was in October. It had reached a stage, I had raised it privately, I had raised it in meetings, and it was still going on. So I made a decision to raise it publicly. And it's on record. And everybody knows I raised it publicly. What I'm saying is, we must make sure when we form government that extrajudicial killings must come to an end, abductions must come to an end, and all officers responsible will be held to account. And let me tell police commanders who are escorting goons around the country, we are keeping a very good diary. All those officers who are in charge of Narok, on the day we were there and we were brutalized, they will be held to account when we form government. No, the records are there. We'll be asking who was the OCS Narok on that day, who was the officer commanding police division that day, who was the OCS Tigoni police station when criminals attacked Rigathi Gachagua in Lemuru, who was the OCS then. They will be taken to account. And let me tell police officers, all those who are carrying out illegal instructions from politicians, you will answer for them. And criminal activities have no time limit. When we form government, and I have asked all leaders to keep a record of police excesses. Keep the name of the OCS, the name of the OSPD, the name of the sub-county commander, the guy in charge of CID, and keep proper record of the police excesses, the sins of commission and omission. When we form government, these officers will be held to account. Are
you speaking to a government that will finally allow the Inspector General to be independent and do the policing work?
You know, we have an Inspector General of Police who has surrendered his command to his juniors. This Douglas Kanja does not even know what goes on. The guy in charge is called Masengeri, the guy in charge of AP, and a guy called the Langat. These are the guys who are running the show and the DCI. The IG is a flower girl in Kenya. He doesn't know what goes on. He's from my village. He has no idea what goes on, you know? And it's so sad, you know? Ourselves, when we form government, we want to allow independent institutions to function. We want independent offices to function. You want an IG who can take command of the police. And I want to tell Douglas Kanja and those two DIGs to remember that in 2007, Major Ali was taken to the ICC for sins of commission and omission. And the way they are driving this country as we go towards the election, I see these officers having a date at The Hague. Kanja, Langat, Masengeri. I mean, I see you having a date at The Hague.
Will you file a petition for an application at the ICC?
No, the way things are going, you allow goons to terrorize Kenyans under police formation. Kenyans say no, and they fight. And there is civil strife. ICC comes in, and you people in charge of the police command, you will have to account.
Would you be at the forefront in filing a petition
of course,
at the ICC?
Of course. I can tell you a lot of things are going on. A lot of documentation is going on. And I've told William Ruto he had a date with The Hague. I see him having a second date. And he knows he was not vindicated. It is only that witnesses were interfered with. He knows what Hague means. And the way things are going, I see him having a second date at The Hague because he has allowed criminals to take over the security sector and rain terror on the people of Kenya, you know? And I don't, this will constitute crimes against humanity eventually. And as we go towards 2027, the way I'm listening to Kenyans talk, Kenyans will defend themselves. And you see, when Kenyans defend themselves because the police are not available to defend them, there is anarchy. When there is anarchy, there is death, there is injury, and then the ICC will come in.
But Kenyans will defend themselves. What exactly do you mean?
What do you mean? If you go to terrorize people, goons under police supervision go to terrorize people, you expect people just to sit down? People will say no. Because Kenyans are people who have a right to self-determination. And why are police allowing that? Because under the Constitution, their work is to protect life and property. But the police are actually the ones harming the people of Kenya. They are the ones escorting goons to harm Kenyans. Yet they are the ones who are supposed to defend Kenyans from harm by goons. But they are the ones working with goons to harm the people of Kenya. And I'm telling you that situation is not acceptable. And Kenyans will say no, you know? And I am listening to many people. They are saying no, you know? People are saying no, we are not going to be attacked again. We'll also get ready. We'll defend ourselves. And that will bring anarchy. It's called the law, the state of nature. Why governments were formed is because people needed to be regulated. But we have a country where we are reverting to the state of nature, where police are working with criminals to terrorize people. When people are these policemen are paid by the taxpayers to defend the people of Kenya. They are the ones joining criminals to attack the people of Kenya. What do you expect the people of Kenya to do?
Gachagua, does it mean that today, with all the cases that you have reported that you were attacked, you are unable today to walk into a police station and file a report because you do not trust the police? And if that is the case, then what picture does that paint in the minds of Kenyans who have no other option?
Exactly, that's the point I'm saying. What do you expect Kenyans to do? What has happened myself now, I have people who defend me. The people who attacked us in Kariobangi Church, they were fought by my people, my supporters. They fought them and they drove them away. Then they came back with the police, with guns and live ammunition and tear gas, and overwhelmed our people because they have guns. But you see, what will happen is that there will be many cases like that. What has happened is they attacked me in Lemuru. They have never attacked me again without reaction. Because you see also I have supporters who will not allow people just to attack me. You know, wherever I go now, I have people also who defend me against the gangs. But do you want that in a country where people are defending each other and police are escorting one side to attack the other? It's a shame for Douglas Kaja and the National Police Service and Kipchumba Murkomen. He talks a lot of English, but it is during his tenure, you know, it's during his tenure, you know, that goons have taken over the National Police Service. He wears expensive shoes, expensive belt, expensive watch, but the country is being run by goons. How does he even get sleep? How do you get sleep as CS Interior to say you are the CS Interior of the Republic of Kenya when goons have taken over the National Police Service? He should be very ashamed of himself. Very ashamed. It has never happened, even during the Moi era. We have never seen goons take over the country from the policemen. We have never seen that. And I can tell you, even the president is part of it, because he issued instructions the other day. A week is over. Nobody has been prosecuted, which means he was not serious. He was just playing PR.
You see, Mr. Gachagua, one would hope that where the country finds itself, especially on matters of security, that security is given utmost importance and that Kenyans would respect as well the rule of law and that the police as well would be there to do policing work. But let us go to on something that is very keen and Kenyans are following on, and this is the country's debt. Yes. At the time when you formed government, you said yourself, you found a public coffers that was empty. The country was purely broke. And during the campaign period, we would not borrow. We would have to seal all the loopholes and continue. But we saw the borrowing that continued even then. Today we speak in terms of 12 trillion shillings that is choking Kenyans on a daily basis. And if you just pause, Mr. Gachagua, and look at what trillion shillings is vis-a-vis what we see on ground, many would say mambo kwa ground ni different. How would you handle, first of all, where do you place Kenya in terms of the debt situation, and what would be the solution if the united opposition form government?
You know, my brother, the national debt now is almost 12.5 trillion. And we have borrowed 4 trillion in the last 2 years. And we are borrowing about 3.5 billion daily. That's okay, we can borrow 3.5 billion daily. But what is annoying is that 3 billion is being stolen daily through procurement. You know, why are we borrowing to steal? William Ruto and his government are borrowing 3.5 billion daily, and then they steal 3 billion daily. You saw the other day a video, one of his MPs from Rift Valley, weighing money with a weighing scale. You know, because they have no time to count. The money is too much that counting billions will take a long time. So they weigh one note, they weigh one bundle, and they count it and they weigh. Then they use the weighing scale, you know, to be able. I saw another video that there is a central bank in Italy. You saw notes being packed. All this is money that is corruption through procurement. William Ruto has made corruption through procurement a way of life in this country. And he has started by having corruption in the State House, where he bribes people daily when people can see without even hiding, without even being ashamed. I used to see people bribing policemen, hiding a little bit. You know, they would hide, fold the note. Because bribery is not a good thing, they will hide a little because they are ashamed, because bribery is not a good thing. He called chiefs and assistant chiefs and bribed them with 10,000 each and cheated them that you make them DOs. And the chiefs were just laughing because it's a lie. They know it's not possible because we don't have those number of administrative divisions. So one of the chiefs called me from somewhere, I don't want to say where, they'll hunt him down. And he said, this man is such a liar. He's telling us to go and lie to the people of Kenya that he will make Kenya Singapore. But what is sad is that he has lied to us, ourselves, before he can go and lie to the people that he will make us DOs. And we know very well that it is not possible, you know? We had him bribe teachers, bribe everybody. This is money that has been stolen because it's not his money. His salary cannot match what he's using to bribe people. You have seen the sale of national assets, you know? The Safaricom, you know, Safaricom. Safaricom was sold to Kenyans in 2007, 25% shares. There was IPO, the initial IPO. Kenyans oversubscribed. They bought everything. I tried to buy, they could only allow me to buy a little. Today, those shares are being sold to a foreign company, Vodacom, at 34 shillings. Kenyans have analyzed the growth of Safaricom, its potential, its outreach, and they are putting that value at almost 70 shillings.
Gachagua, how much is a share as you speak at the NEC of Safaricom?
I am not sure. I'm told it's 30-something or 40-something.
It is 28.
Whatever it is. But you see what you do with a business. You look at its potential. You look at the potential of that business. And you look at its projected growth so that you know what is the potential value. You know? Again, what we are saying, this is a company that is so central in Kenyans' lives. It's the one doing M-Pesa, almost everybody on Safaricom. Why do you want to give it to a foreigner? If this company must be sold, why don't we sell it to Kenyans? Open it to the people of Kenya, let them buy. Why do you want to give a foreign company 55% ownership, majority shareholders of a company that is so central in our lives?
I had that discussion with the CS Treasury today.
Why it is being sold?
The CS Treasury today, I had a discussion with him in the studio today.
Yes.
And the shares at the NSC today for Safaricom goes at 28 shillings. So 34 shillings is profit for the government.
But why can't you open it to Kenyans?
And the government went through a process for the past 6 months, going through and analyzing, doing research to understand how much that would be. And today, the money that is held at Safaricom, over 240 billion shillings that the government says this is money lying idle at the NEC. And we can take that money, inject it into development of the country that Kenyans move, because at the end of the day, the Singapore story that President William Ruto speaks about needs this country to march in terms of development. Based off that explanation, why would you oppose the government taking its assets selling it.
Our constitution makes public participation a must when you are dealing with anything that belongs to the public. Have they asked the people of Kenya? No. They are trying to ask now. I saw an advertisement because we have complained. Have they asked the people of Kenya? If you look at this company, since inception, they have paid taxes 1.48 trillion. Since inception, they have paid 550 billion in terms of dividends. When you look at the amount of money they pay every year, yeah, what is the wisdom of selling this company? Because it's like saying, because we have no food here in this house, I sell my household items here, and then I buy food. Then after I finish the food, what happens? When you look at the dividends that they pay to the government, when you look at that amount, where will it be coming from?
The dividend that we talk about is around 16 billion annually every year. But even then, when we talk about public participation, there is a process under law, especially because when you talk about matters transaction, there is a process that guides the same. As we speak right now, Kenyans have been asked to go.
A decision has already been made to sell the company.
Kenyans have been given an opportunity to lend their voices on the sale of these shares that we are talking about. The government of Kenya has not decided it is selling. If Kenyans say no, it will not be sold.
My brother,
how do you oppose it?
My brother.
Instead, shouldn't you be asking Kenyans to participate in this public participation, Mr. Gachagua?
You don't say you are selling this and even the amount before the people of Kenya can tell you to sell. You first say we want to sell. Then when you are given the go-ahead by the people of Kenya to sell, then you start the process. But they have already completed the process, agreed they are selling to who, at how much, then they are coming to the people of Kenya. And then they are coming through Parliament. Parliament is an appendage of William Ruto. You can tell how it will go. There is no public participation. It's an exercise in futility. It's a fait accompli. It is simply formalizing what has already been decided. But the question we are saying, why don't you ask the people of Kenya whether you need to sell Safaricom?
It's what they're asking.
When they tell you yes, why don't you give them an opportunity to buy? Why do you want to sell it to a foreign company? Why don't you let the people of Kenya own this company that is so important to their lives? Why do you want it to be owned by a foreigner? But you have already decided whom to sell. How are those negotiations done? Because they are commissions. Because they are people who have an interest. There are people who have gained money there. What we are saying, if Safaricom must be sold, let the people of Kenya, with their financial challenges they are having, be allowed to buy. I buy for 20,000, another one for 20,000. Then the company remains here. The government will remain with the shares, 35%. The people of Kenya, yeah, will own the 15, yeah, plus the other 25 we bought the other time. Then the company, 60% is owned by government and the people of Kenya. Why do you want to give 55% majority shareholder to a foreigner? A company that is so instrumental in Kenyan lives. Why?
But you know that Vodacom is part and parcel of Safaricom as we speak today, right?
No. Those are foreigners. And if Kenyans have not said they are not able to buy Safaricom, we were given an opportunity in 2007. We bought. We oversubscribed. In fact, they were allocating. You could not buy what you wanted. They had to allocate. Why can't we give this opportunity to the people of Kenya? If we must sell Safaricom, which I disagree, we need not sell it. The amount of money we are raising from Safaricom is good for our country. And by selling it, we are going to lose revenue. And what will happen, that revenue we used to get from Safaricom, we'll have to overtax Kenyans. Because we must get that money we used to get from Safaricom. It's like selling a cow that you are milking so much milk and selling and drinking, and then taking it to the butchery, and then get one off so that you build a toilet in your home. Then what happens? How will you get milk? How will your children get milk? It is an ill thought out proposal. It is unnecessary, and it is informed by conflict of interest.
As the process continues, because that is the process that is there, that is recognized under the law, what is your message to Kenyans who are being urged today to go to these venues to give their views on the sale of Safaricom?
Those public participation forums will be micromanaged by Parliament. Kenyans must agitate and Kenyans must go to court. This is the only language William Ruto can understand. We must go to court. That if Safaricom must be sold, Kenyans must be given the first opportunity. Because they have not been given and they have said they are not able to buy. And they have a proven track record that they are able to buy the shares in Safaricom. In 2007, Kenyans were given the opportunity to buy, they oversubscribed. And they could not buy as much as they wanted. So if Kenyans agree that Safaricom need to be sold, we are demanding that the people of Kenya be given the first opportunity to buy Safaricom so that it remains Kenyan, so that government can own some shares and other shares are owned by the people of Kenya.
Let's remain on the question of debt. The country is said to have borrowed all these 12.5 trillion, but that is not seen. If you look at the laws, PFM Act, on how borrowing is done, you only borrow for development. And today, you look at how much we've borrowed vis-a-vis what we see, and we cannot see what 12.5 trillion shillings has done. Therefore, Mr. Gachagua, the odious debt that does exist in the country, first of all, do you believe that there is odious debt? And if that is the case, then should Kenya pay this odious debt?
Unfortunately, the people of Kenya will have to pay that debt because they have been committed by government. And what is sad is that they shall pay for money that is being stolen. The money that is being borrowed is used to bribe them. It is being used to bribe voters. It's being used to bribe chiefs and teachers. It's being used to host people at State House. It's so sad, but the people of Kenya will have to pay. So what we need to do is to make sure we vote out this government so that we stop that borrowing for money for using to steal and using it to bribe people. And that we must do, and that is why most of us we are saying the problem of Kenya cannot be tribalism. The way Ruto also say, the problem is that he is stealing, he's borrowing money from other bodies, that money that people of Kenya will pay, and then stealing the same amount of money and bribing them with the money. And then when he gets on top of his vehicle, he says there's no problem in Kenya, the problem of Kenya is tribalism.
What is the position on President William Ruto's State of the Nation address? He says that at the macro level, the government is doing very well. International lending institutions are doing very well. But down at the ground, because you listen to people, what is the actual position of Kenyans with regard to the economy and how they are feeling in their pocket? And if you form government, how would you fix that?
My brother, if you want to know economic growth, forget about those figures of inflation, of economic growth, I don't know, macroeconomics, Talk to the people of Kenya and ask them how the economy is doing. They will give you an answer. During the reign of Mwai Kibaki, Kenyans felt economic growth. You didn't need to give a State of National address. You didn't need to give an economic survey to tell the people of Kenya that the economy is growing and there is economic growth. The people of Kenya felt economic growth. There was money in circulation. You know, the bypasses were opened up. Houses came up. There was money in circulation everywhere. Everybody was happy. Today, despite borrowing that amount of 3.5 million every day, Kenyans are paying bills of 800 billion. If you read the Nation newspaper daily, there are 6-7 pages of auctions. People are being auctioned, their properties, their land, their houses, their matrimonial houses are being auctioned. Simply because government owes them for the last 3 years, 5 years, they have refused to pay them. Marriages have been broken. People are committing suicide because of being auctioned, because of getting destroyed economically, because of non-payment of bills. So when Ruto goes to parliament to say the economy is growing, what do those people whose property is being auctioned because they are owed money by government, how do they feel? And what is sad, all those houses and land that is being auctioned, it's not being bought. There's nobody to buy. I went the other day to Ayad in Narok. I found more than 50 vehicles. They have been there for 1 year. They were repossessed for sale, but there is nobody to buy, nobody has money. So when you say that the economy is growing, that there is improvement, that the economy has stabilized, who are you telling? as we go for Christmas, Kenyans are a very sad lot. Many Kenyans will not even enjoy Christmas. Many of them are sulking. They are worried about January. Where will they get money to take their children to school? Where will they get money to pay for licenses for businesses that are not performing? You have to renew your license in January, but nobody comes to your shop to buy. Yet you have to renew your licenses. Kenyans are a very unhappy lot as we proceed for this Christmas. Kenyans are very sad by the state of the economy. And that is why most people are switching the TV off when William Ruto was lying to the people of Kenya in parliament that Kenya is doing very well economically. He has stabilized the economy. Oh, we are on a very good trajectory. Whom is he telling? Talk to the ordinary Kenyan people. You know, today, tea farmers, they are going home with a bonus as less as 12 shillings. That's something that has not happened in the history of this country. Simply because William Ruto mismanaged foreign policy on the relationship with Sudan. He went to interfere with the internal affairs of Sudan. He went to work with the rebel groups, sending them arms, buying gold from them. Then the government of Sudan got annoyed and stopped importing our tea. We have been selling 15% of our tea, of our green tea to Sudan. As a result, most of our tea is in Mombasa unbought. And the prices have gone down because we used to get very good prices from Sudan. As we speak today, farmers from his place in Kericho are saying 1 term. Farmers in Nandi are saying 1 term. Tea farmers from his place where he comes from, his own tribesmen are saying 1 term. Because for a long time, for the last 30 years, they have never received bonus as low as they have received. You know, as we go for Christmas, many people are doing harambis to pay hospital bills. SHA is not working. They have been deducted money, but SHA cannot pay. Many people over this Christmas have harambis to raise money for hospital bills. You know, many people, they have supplied food to hospitals. They have not been paid. Many people have supplied food items to prisons. They have not been paid. Everybody is stuck as we go for Christmas. Yet the president has the audacity to appear in parliament, drinking water, and MPs are shouting there 2 term, and he's saying how Kenya is doing well, how happy people are, you know. And he was saying, oh, he has, you know, he was in America, he has been invited there. You know, I saw Trump. I think he's a very interesting character. William Ruto was telling Trump that there are problems in Sudan, and there is a humanitarian crisis, and Trump should intervene. And Trump just looked at him because he has intelligence that William Ruto is responsible for the crisis in Sudan, and he is here pretending to invite Trump to intervene in Sudan. And Trump just looked at him. He did not respond to him, you know. So, you know, I have had. I would like you give me an opportunity to talk about Singapore. I prepared something because I would like to debunk.
Let's actually go there, because you see, Mr. Gachagua, one of the issues that also has bedeviled this country is corruption, right?
Yes.
And corruption is not money that has disappeared. It is money that is stolen.
Yes.
It is money that has been taken. And money, as they say, has trail, has paper trail. It can be traced to where it has gone to. The government of Kenya today says, we want to get to a developed country. We want to get to Singapore. But if you look at what Lee Kuan Yew did in Singapore, the first thing he did was to criminalize corruption. If you were found to be corrupt, you would be shot dead. Today, Kenya finds itself at a position where corruption is coffee, tea, sleep, wake up corruption. If you form government, what is your promise in dealing with corruption so that the Singaporean dream becomes a reality?
Let me talk about Singapore. William Ruto is very good at narratives. Last election, he came with the bottom-up economic model. It has collapsed. He said he'll lift people from bottom to up. Those who own motorbikes will own centers and taxis. Those who own taxis will own matatus. Those who own matatus will own buses.
You believed him? You trusted him?
We
you
believed
supported
him. We believed him. It was the greatest fraud in the history of Kenya. electoral fraud. He called all of us and the people of Kenya, Mama Mboga, border. He doesn't talk about them anymore because he knows it's trash. He said, hustler fund, 500 shillings. What business can you do with 500 shillings? So he knows that nobody will listen to that hustler nonsense. Nobody will listen up to bottom-up economic model. So he has now come up with a new con game of Kenya should be like Singapore. Singapore, the country pursued a radically pro-business, export-oriented strategy. Singapore slashed corporate taxes, guaranteed rule of law, and built investor confidence. So what is William Ruto doing? He's saying we want to be like Singapore. This is what Singapore did. Yeah? Himself, we are struggling businesses. Our importers in Mombasa are strained. The tax regime is oppressive. It kills business. Investors are fleeing Kenya due to corruption and insecurity. In Singapore, they rose to what they became because of rule of law. In Ruto's Kenya, the one he wants to be Singapore, goons are in charge of the country. And he's saying that Kenya can be like Singapore. Singapore became what it is because of rule of law. Here is William Ruto, president of Kenya, saying Kenya will be like Singapore, first world. Singapore became what it is because of rule of law. In Ruto's Kenya, goons are in charge of the police. Who is going to invest in this country? When goons took over Nairobi and other centers, destroyed supermarkets, destroyed factories under police supervision, who in his right mind is going to come and invest in Kenya? Number two, in Singapore, education was made the primary engine of national development. In Kenya, in 3 years, Ruto has destroyed education. The free primary education brought by Mwai Kibaki, destroyed. Secondary school, free primary secondary education brought by who? Destroyed. HELB, a system to fund university education, destroyed. And then he is saying, that Kenya can be like Singapore. Singapore became what it is because education became the primary engine of national development. Here is a man lying to the people of Kenya so that they can be re-elected, that Kenya can be like Singapore. Yet the first thing he has done is the opposite of what Singapore did. Singapore made sure that education is the primary engine of development. William Ruto, who is cheating the people of Kenya, that Kenya can be like Singapore, the first thing he has done in 3 years of his presidency is to destroy the education system irreversibly. And then he's telling people that Kenya can be like Singapore. In Singapore, they had bilingual policy. English for economic competitiveness, mother tongue for identity. Okay? So here in Kenya, William Ruto says when you speak your mother tongue, you are tribal.
Mr. Gachagua, we've heard you.
When we are saying we need identity, he says if you speak your mother tongue, you are tribal.
We've heard what Singapore did. We've had the problems that Kenya faces before it gets to
corruption.
Singapore.
Corruption in Singapore. For Singapore to be what it is, corruption was aggressively implemented. And Singapore ranks the top 5 least corrupt countries for decades. Kenya, corruption is rewarded. State House is a crime scene. Bribery is a way of life. Theft of public resources is the in thing, where ministers display opulence. Today I saw some people from central Kenya, parastatal heads, the wider 7-star hotel, taking pictures, having breakfast, display of opulence from proceeds of corruption. Kenya, corruption is part of our life.
Mr. Gachagua,
and then Ruto is telling us,
Singapore.
He is telling us, whereas Singapore is where it is because it dealt with corruption. Ruto is a conveyor belt of corruption in Kenya.
Mr.
Look
Gachagua.
at what is happening in Ikolomani, my brother. 338 acres. 800 people are being displaced. It is said that there is gold there for 643 billion. We have information The gold under is almost 6 trillion. This gold, why are the locals not involved? Why is it not being...
Have you sent geologists to give you that information?
Let me tell you what is happening in this country.
Mr. Gachagua.
Let me tell you what is happening. Let me also tell you what is happening in this country. Let me tell you what is happening in this country. Very many people are very bitter with the corruption that is being practiced. So we have a lot of information from people inside. The gold deposits in Kakamega are in excess of 6 trillion. Okay? Yet, this gold, without public participation, without consulting the people of Ikolomani and the people of Kakamega, have been given to a company where Ruto and company have shares. It's outright corruption. The gold deposits in Kakamega are enough, yeah, to make Kakamega a county that you salivate when you go there. And these gold deposits belong to the people of Kakamega, they don't belong to government. But because there is corruption, Musalia, Wetangula, and Shinali, the MP, have been compromised by Ruto. And I'm telling the people of Kakamega, they must say no, they must not allow their 6 trillion gold deposits to be stolen by William Ruto and company.
You've mentioned what Singapore has done to get to where it is. You've mentioned problems that
Kenya I'm asking you, my brother. You are telling me.
The question is, Mr. Gachagua, let's talk solutions.
Yes.
You form government. How will you achieve the Singaporean dream if you form government from the United Opposition perspective?
We don't want to tell people like we shall be like Singapore. We don't want narratives and theories like William Ruto does to cheat people. We are honest people. What we know, we don't know whether we'll become like Singapore or like Egypt or like America or like whoever. It doesn't matter. What we know is that we must deal with corruption. Corruption. And corruption is Kenya's problem. William Ruto is convincing everybody that the problem of Kenya is tribalism, so that people stop looking at the real problem of this country. You know, we must deal with corruption decisively. And we must make sure that independent institutions to fight corruption are allowed to do so. We must also make sure that people get what they earn rightfully. We must make sure that we don't sell public assets. Like now, pipeline was being sold at 100 billion.
Before we go to pipeline, I just want us to remain at Ikolomani. We'll go to pipeline.
Yes.
Still on Ikolomani.
Yes.
If you were the president of Kenya today, with the knowledge and the information that you have, that gold deposit is worth 6 trillion shillings, how differently would you have approached it?
We would have a very candid discussion with the people of Ikolomani and Kakamega. And that gold is not just within the 338 acres. That is just the entry point. Gold is underneath the whole of Kakamega. And these guys are not just going to dig that gold within 338 acres. They'll go beneath in all areas in Kakamega. We would have a very serious discussion with the people of Kakamega to tell the people of Kakamega, God in his own wisdom has given you wealth. How do we get this wealth in partnership between the government and yourselves to transform your lives? How do we agree from the sale of this gold? How do we share the proceeds to go to development, to build roads, to have water for irrigation, to build boarding schools for children, to build ultramodern secondary schools, to build universities, to boost people to do business? It is absurd that a few people, with the connivance of William Ruto, Musalia Mudavadi, Wetangula, and Shinali, want to steal 6 trillion from the people of Kakamega, and then they remain in abject poverty. And I'm telling the people of Kakamega, they must put their foot down. They should not, even if they are to be killed or jailed, the people of Kakamega cannot allow these gold deposits to go to a few people when they should benefit the people of Kakamega. And I'm asking them to stop it until we form government. Then when we form government, we can have a discussion. How do we exploit this mineral? And you know, my brother, minerals. The conflict in DRC is about minerals. The conflict in Sudan is about minerals. And the people of Kakamega must be prepared to say no. They must protect these gold deposits. There is no way 6 trillion worth of gold deposit that can transform a whole county should go to 4 people.
I want you to address yourself to the pipeline matter that you were talking about, the sale of the same. I want you as well to talk about securitization that the government has put in place to be able to get funds to push development of the country. What is your view on those two, as well as the road that is being constructed, the Mau Summit Road?
Pipeline,
where do you stand with that?
This issue of pipeline was brought when I was Deputy President. I was a chairman of the cabinet committee that will discuss matters before they go to cabinet. And I refused. I rejected it. It was only passed after I was removed from office. This pipeline is worth 600 billion. William Ruto wants to buy it at 100 billion. And he's the one buying it. And he told me, we have interest in this matter.
When did he tell you?
When I was in his deputy.
At what time?
When I refused, when I rejected it in cabinet committee, and his minister went and told him that I have refused. He called me and said, no, just please, let's process this thing. And I said, no. This thing, pipeline, is a national asset and is a strategic investment. How do you give the storage of our petroleum products in the hands of private people? These are strategic parastatals that have security implications for the security of the country. Again, how do you sell an institution worth 600 billion at 100 billion? And they are targeting some land in Mombasa. That land in Mombasa owned by pipeline, that land is worth 400 billion. So you buy pipeline, but the land you are targeting is worth 400 billion. But I'm glad that some people went to court and this matter was put on hold. And I really want to pay great tribute to our judiciary. I have followed for the last 6 months and I'm very happy that we have judicious men and women who love their country, who are patriotic, and who will not allow William Ruto to sell everything that we own in this country. Because what is happening, and I can tell you, all our national assets are being sold. This Bomas of Kenya here, something, our heritage for our culture has been sold for 100 years, 99 years lease. And foreigners come and they're in partnership with Ruto and other people close to him. You know, I've heard him today saying that he's not interested in any more wealth. I hope he means it. I hope he means it.
Finally, Mr. Gachagua,
I hope he means it.
I want you to address yourself to the Limuru Mau Summit Road. Where do you stand with that?
Yeah?
The development of the Limuru Mau Summit Road.
It is unacceptable because that program was done by the Uhuru government at 150 billion to the French. And when William Ruto came, he tried to talk to the French to see whether he can get something out of it, and they refused because they had already finalized the contract. So he canceled the contract, and we had to pay 6.5 billion as penalty. We lost 6.5 billion so that he can cancel the contract. This contract now has been upgraded to 200 billion. And they are trying to give it to 2 contractors, which is against the law. Because the 2 contractors are not, the one contractor is not able to handle the volume. It's too much. It's against the law. Even when he launched it last Friday, he did it when there is no contract. It's a fraud, it's a con. How do you go to launch a program which you have not signed a contract? But the 50 billion is what Ruto and his people have negotiated with the Chinese. And this Chinese company, and we are telling the Chinese government, this CBRC, it is involved in a lot of corruption here in this country. And the way they are paying commission to the president is building up hotels and go downs for him in Mombasa Road and a hotel in Taveta. It is a very corrupt company, CBRC. And the Chinese people should know that that company is a purveyor and a conveyor of corruption in this country.
Do you have evidence to that effect, Mr. Gachagua?
How do you explain that the
Can you share them with us?
No, I'm asking, do you need rocket science or to have gone to a school for corruption studies?
One would say, everything that you say, Mr. Gachagua, has to be backed by evidence. Because all you say is just allegation.
Why would you cancel a contract for 150 billion and do it for 200 billion? Same road, same country, different times. Why would anybody want to do that? Why would you be prepared to lose 6.5 billion to cancel a contract that you have no reason to do it? It is because of conflict of interest. And my brother, we also live in this country. And we know what is going on, and many people are talking to us, and we are saying it is insulting to the people of Kenya for Ruto to say that Kenya can be like Singapore. When Singapore, it is what it is because it fought corruption. When he is doing corruption every day, in every deal. Kenya now is a country of deals. And the corruption in Kenya is through procurement. Yeah.
Mr. Gachagua, thank you very much for hosting us in your home. A lot that needs to be discussed. Time is never enough to canvass everything that we have to discuss in 2 hours and some change. But that notwithstanding, Mr. Gachagua, we are heading to Christmas. Look straight into that camera. Speak to Kenyans, your final remarks and Christmas message to them.
I want to empathize with the people of Kenya as we proceed for Christmas. I appreciate the troubles they are going through, the pain, the anguish, the uncertainty, the economic and financial challenges that our people are undergoing. I empathize with the parents whose children were abducted and tortured, and some have never been recovered today. I empathize with them. I really feel for the people of Kenya because of the lies that their president gives them every day when they can see the country is being looted left, right, and center, and there's nothing they can do.
Yes.
But I want to give hope to the people of Kenya as they go for Christmas, that Kenyans are very resilient people and they are very determined. I want to ask the people of Kenya to be patient and to have faith in the united opposition. I want to assure them that despite what they are hearing, the united opposition is one, and we shall produce one candidate to face William Ruto to give the people of Kenya an opportunity to get a good government, a government that is transparent, a government that means well for them, a government that will create prosperity, a government that will observe the rule of law, a government that will respect institutions.
Yes.
So as they proceed for Christmas, I want to ask them to take care of themselves, to have safe travels, to avoid a lot of night travel, not to agree to be loaded in matatus like cabbages and potatoes, to demand that the matatus and the buses observe traffic regulations. And I want to ask them to spend less for Christmas, much as it's a festive season, to know that January is coming.
It's coming.
January is a very, very difficult month. And even as they try to celebrate with the little that they have, they should take due care to make sure that they try to save a little to be able to help them in January, which is a very, very difficult month. Otherwise, for all Kenyans, I'll also be taking a Christmas and New Year break. And they will not be hearing of me from today. I'll also be joining my family in a village and the villagers for Christmas, and later on for the New Year festivities, and take a little break, and also try also to do a few things in January like all other Kenyans, pay licenses, pay this and that, pay school fees for my children in South Africa and elsewhere. And I'll be struggling just the way they are struggling. But I want to assure them that things will get better, and much as things are difficult, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
It will always get better. Geoffrey Rigathi Gachagua, DCP party leader, key principal in the united opposition, and says, despite the fact that things are difficult, Kenyans should not lose hope. The only thing that will keep you moving is to remain hopeful, and that there is light at the end of the tunnel. My name is Dennis Aseto. We have been coming to you live from the residence of Rigathi Gachagua. A lot has been discussed. I take you back to the studio with Ndu Oko for KTN Prime, to the entire team that made this production a success. Asante sana, including you for keeping us company. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. Good evening.
Well.